Captain, incoming message.
It was the dawn of the third age of mankind.
Groovy.
Hi-ho. This is me, Kermit the Frog.
Hello there.
Moopsy.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Not a great plan.
Program complete. Enter when ready.
Let's see what's out there. Engage.
Hey there, we're those Sci-Fi guys, and this is that Those Sci-Fi Guys show. Just two working dudes, different lives, different jobs, but a whole lot of love for science fiction and the fun that comes with. We are your hosts. I am P.S. McKay, and someone set us up the bomb. All your base are belong to us.
I'm DT Calfman, and just why, dude?
It was an old theme. It was the first thing I thought of. A lot of other bomb jokes that could have bombed, and that was the best bomb of them all.
Why did you even bring it up?
What? It's a theme. It's a meme from like 2000.
Sure.
What?
Move on.
Oh, dude, you're reading way too much into everything right now. Anyway, we're here.
Are we?
No. How you doing?
Hey, we're recording.
Yes, we are recording. A big red square that wasn't there the last time.
It was there the last time, just not the time before.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hey,
we're already going off the rails.
You know how we've already, we talked, had debates about recency and whatnot and current stuff. So I was flipping through the YouTube today and happened to come across that Honest Trailers dropped Honest Trailers of Spaceballs. So we got even in under that. Woo!
Wow, really? We beat them?
Yeah, man.
Really? Honest Trailers, huh? Is it good?
They're always good. They usually are. But it's like, all right, I was on the right track when I suggested doing Spaceballs.
I am shocked that it just dropped 9 hours ago. Dang.
That's what I said.
Yeah, okay.
It hit today.
I missed the timing, but interesting. Well, yeah, that's good. Hey, we beat you, Honest Trailers. And I bet we got to talk more about the Schwartz than you did. I haven't even watched it yet.
Well, it's like a 7-minute video.
Yeah, it's not something that we can just like throw on and watch casually. If it was like a minute or two, that's a different story. But
they had some good ones. It was per usual. It was entertaining. Hell, I already know people who have listened to our Spaceballs video.
And
one dude thought it was really funny.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, the funniest parts were the stuff that we showed of Spaceballs. So,
well, likely, but
But yeah,
Spaceballs the podcast. The kids
Spaceballs
love
the podcast. So yeah, that was fun to talk about. What are we talking about today? Oh yeah, we've got no structure today. No, we already demonstrated we've gone off the rails. So,
well, it's kind of crazy, right? We only recorded once last week, and we're kind of already behind because we had to re-record the Spaceballs. We hit a little lull on some topics. I mean, I have watched the first 3 episodes of Ironheart.
Yeah. was it good?
I mean, there's some things about it I do like. There's a very serious PTSD arc in that. Not that I like PTSD. Just there's there's shows that
You're
there's
not
a
going to
lot
spoil
of
it for anyone. Just say it. What was the PTSD thing about? Was it for
well,
Riri?
and I mean it's pretty. Yeah, Riri's best friend and stepfather were killed.
Oh
in a
yeah, they
drive-by.
got shot. Yeah,
That's
right.
right at the beginning, and she was there in person. It's bad enough that you lose people you care about, but to witness it, that's very hard. And it kind of gives her. There's some drive there. There's moments of severe anxiety. There's additionally, Tony Stark, I have a dream for a suit of armor around the world. This kind of is why Riri starts doing the suits of armor. There's some good things in there. I'm curious about the main antagonist, the Hood. I was a little skeptical at first, but the guy's crushing it right now. So
Yeah. Let's see. I thought she just wanted to be iconic.
I mean, there's that too, but they they tie some of this drive into her the loss of her family
Mm-hmm.
because I mean you can't be a superhero if your dad is still alive, right?
Well, yeah, that seems to be the trope, doesn't it? I mean, Superman, the old Superman, anyway. Batman, Spider-Man. He lost his dad and his father figure. Let's see who else. Well, Tony Stark,
Captain
America. We didn't see Falcon's dad. I can assume he was gone by the time Falcon and the Winter Soldier came out.
I would assume parents. All you see is his sister in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
His mother wasn't there too? I thought his mother was there too.
I don't think so. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've watched that, but yes. In superheroes, you either have the good dad who died, or you have the bad dad who's still alive. That's about all you get.
That's true. Well, I mean, here's the thing.
Kamala Khan had a great dad who's still alive.
The actor's questionable, but yeah, definitely.
Kamala Khan, I like him. He's pretty entertaining.
He had a
gotcha.
He had a there were some controversies, but otherwise, I'm right behind you on it. Absolutely. I thought he was very well portrayed.
It's a very rare
and acted
of a dad. One still alive and two not like a scumbag. Usually, if they're still alive, they're the bad guy.
Yes. All that.
Like Peter Quill, for instance.
Well, okay, that doesn't count. He grew up fatherless.
So he got both. He's got fatherless and bad dad all at once.
He turned out pretty awesome, though.
Well, because he had a daddy.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, what was I gonna... shoot, I was gonna say something. Here's the fun part. I mean, full disclosure, I went to you and I said I don't want to watch Ironheart. Everything I've seen of it, I'm not. There's nothing motivating me to watch it, and there's very few things are motivating me to watch a lot of
anything
Disney,
right now.
Disney Plus anyway. Yeah. I'm actually going to go see. Oh, I wanted to talk to you about this because maybe it's a subject we could do. I really do want to see the Jurassic World movie, Rebirth, because it's film. It was directed by Gareth Edwards.
Rogue One.
Yes, but even more to the point, Godzilla 2014, and even more to the point, he made the independent film Monsters for like a couple $100,000, and it looks brilliant. He did all the special effects on his own laptop, and they look amazing. And I can just see how he knows how to move these dinosaurs because their physics is just completely different from what we've seen previously.
I wonder, do you need to see Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom? You probably do.
No, you're fine. So it was Jurassic World, then Fallen Kingdom, and then Dominion. Did you see Dominion?
Oh, geez, this is 4. Yeah, I haven't seen it. I only saw Jurassic World.
Okay. So, I mean, all you need to know is that in Fallen Kingdom, they bring the dinosaurs to the mainland and they escape. And then in Dominion, the world is coming to terms with the idea of having dinosaurs back in the ecosystem. And then I'm not giving anything away. Sure. In this movie, the world has come to terms with having dinosaurs in the ecosystem, and it's turned out that they're not very capable of surviving in today's ecosystem. So most of them have retreated to the tropical areas, and they're going back to the island where they developed them. I don't know which island it is, but the island, they said.
No, they there's so many islands now.
I know. Well, the 5 deaths. So, as referenced by Vince Vaughn in The Lost World. So there's the 5 islands there. So that being said, I'm interested in that, but you don't need to see Fallen Kingdom and Dominion if you just know those facts right there. So
okay, I'll consider it. I do want to see it this weekend. Well, it's the 4th of July, so it's kind of crazy, and unfortunately, my job is jackassery at times. So
you don't get to be working for 3 days usually.
No, so.
No, Saturday night. It's not something we have to do next time. All I'm saying, actually, what I was really, go ahead. You were saying something Saturday. Apologies.
Saturday, actually, my family and I are going to hunker down after I get back from work, order some food, and we're going to watch Jaws for the 50th anniversary.
That'll be fun. That'll be fun.
Well, Mrs. Cavman and our kid have not seen it. Now, of course, you don't want to show it to I wouldn't have shown it to her when she was little.
I did.
We were going to watch.
But he likes weird stuff like that, so he wasn't traumatized. So we had a good ramp up to knowing how he would handle it. So
my kid's big-hearted, so I have a feeling she needed to be a little older for it.
Oh yeah,
she does like sharks.
There's some tough scenes.
Shark Week in our family is a big deal, especially me and my kid. But Mrs. Cavman's a big fan. Last summer while we were on the Cape for a week, we were walking through, one of those little shopping, like one of those areas on one of those towns on the Cape where they have like this string of neat little kitschy stores and whatnot that they all have, a lot of these towns have. And we walked into this kind of neat store, had a lot of knickknacks and pop culture things, but right in the window was a copy of the book Jaws. And Mrs. Cavman decided, I want to read this. We walk in and, you guys got the Jaws? I'm like, no. I'm like, it's in your window, man. like, oh, they're looking around. I was like, oh, I guess that's the only one. I'm like, well,
Can we have
fucking
it?
go get it, man. Take it out of the window, like in the TV and movies, you know.
Give Peter Benchley those royalties for love's sake.
And the book is supposed to be fairly different from the novel or from the
Oh,
movie. I mean,
yeah,
it's
I
like
found out today
significantly
that
different.
Richard Dreyfuss's character, Brody's wife, lusts after him.
They knew each other in college or something like that. Back, you know. So the book, I believe, takes place on Long Island, and yeah, like Brody's wife knows Matt Hooper from the past, and they have a very awkward love scene, like affair, and like there's arguments that break out on the boat and stuff like that.
Well,
I think there was also like some sort of like mafia undertone in the movie too, or in the book. But I got to tell you, that sounds like all extra shit. The movie streamlined a lot of stuff and moved it to Well, they moved it to Martha's Vineyard. They made up the name, but basically it's Cape. It's that Cape and Islands feel.
Yeah.
To it.
Yeah, immensely so.
And they just streamlined that sucker, and it hums. That thing's it's a great movie. It invented the summer blockbuster.
Literally, that was the start of the modern movie era, Jaws. So not only was it an iconic movie, but it literally set up, I'm sorry, not modern, the postmodern movie era, where you're able to create movies based off of older concepts, and it kind of not insists upon itself, but builds upon what has come before. And we're still, I would argue we're in the postmodern era. It literally was a B movie. Yeah.
It's a B movie. It's a monster movie, but it's actually because of the failure of the animatronics and the simplicity of John Williams' score, it turns it into a thriller instead of a campy monster movie.
Yeah.
About a killer shark. And it becomes the unknown that really screws with you for the first half of the movie. And I've seen a whole bunch of interviews and clips and everything over the last month, because I think it was released in like late May of 1975. And of course, Narragansett beer, every summer they release Jaws 1975 cans. They're not the old pull tabs, but the design is similar, right? This year, and they come in a box that has the movie poster on it, the shark head going up. But this year, because it's the 50th anniversary, I guess in certain boxes you can get specific cans that might put you in a running for like a special trip to Martha's Vineyard or something. So
your New England shook through when you said
Martha's Vineyard, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is you're talking about just some. They basically were like, let's find the New England equivalent of Pabst Blue Ribbon back in the 70s and make this old guy just drink them left and right, crush the cans and all this. And when the company Narragansett was revived, I don't know, about 10, 15 years ago, they really leaned heavily into playing off the movie Jaws, which a lot of people know. And so on their Facebook pages, like, they've got one of their mottos is crush it like Quint, drink the can, crush it, because that's what Quint did to all the Narragansett cans.
Mm-hmm.
So like people will send in Halloween pictures of them dressed like Quint and drinking Narragansett. And there's the brewery down in Providence actually had a screening of the movie a couple weeks ago. So it's a big deal. Mrs. Cavman wanted the book so she could read it on the beach while we were down there. And she enjoyed the book. I'm like, I didn't read the book, but from everything I've learned, the book isn't this is one of those cases where the book isn't as good as the movie. So that's what we're doing post 4th of July.
Nice.
I'm going to be working all day. I'm going to be working all day, so I'll come home, order food. We bought gummy sharks. we really decided to nerd out on this one to make it a thing. So we're going to do that. It'll be cool.
Nice.
On the 4th of July, however, we're having a bunch of people over.
Oh, yeah.
Our house. I know you guys have a big 4th of July. So
yeah, we do.
we couldn't get away with any sort of fireworks here. So instead of doing that, we're having your brother and his family over.
Oh, really?
My wife is like, do you have any friends or anybody like who you might think might not have any, not that they didn't have anything to do, but maybe didn't have big plans, because we were going to have our usual family, 7 or 8 of us together. And we've invited others in the years past. But, I reached out to an Army buddy of mine who is actually going away for the weekend with his girlfriend. So, but I wasn't sure because his kids live in another state. So I wanted to be sure he was, he was good. And then, I'm like, when I saw your brother, a couple weeks ago, it's like, yeah, my schedule's all over the place. I don't see a ton of people, so I was like, well, if you guys are more than welcome. And so they took us up on it. They'll be joining us.
Nice. I hear he's been using the hell out of the that local pool and racket club.
Yeah, he posted today.
Yeah, he tells me that he's been there every day till close, and I remember you working there, and I'm like, you're probably their favorite if you stay there until close.
He's been there. I know he's been off this week, so I'll probably go Sunday. I'll probably take my kid down. I've really only truly been down there once where I was jumped in the pool or anything like that. I went down for like the first, I think we went down one day. We've been down twice. I've taken her down 2 other times, but the weather wasn't as good. So we just kind of poked in, said hi to some people. Didn't really do much. So, but this is,
my nephew wouldn't let them do that. That he insists that they go rain or shine, freezing or not.
That's what your sister-in-law said on Memorial Day.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, the weather wasn't good on Saturday or Sunday.
Like a high of 55.
Really nice. It was beautiful that Monday. It was like 70,
67,
sunny.
Yeah.
It was perfect. It wasn't too hot for the parade, which it can be sometimes. Our first year here it was like 85, and you're on concrete while you're not even marching, like you're sitting on the sidewalk, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
So the next year it was kind of cold. It was kind of cool. So I'm like, I got a jacket on. The year before I was sweating. This year was a nice, even. It was nice, yeah.
What do I want to say? Bringing it back to Jaws. I don't think a lot of people understand the significance of that movie being filmed in Martha's Vineyard and how timeless that flippin' island really is. I mean, it is almost unchanged. I went a couple times in high school. That bridge that everyone is not supposed to jump off but does all the time is still there, unchanged.
We did take we took a trip, just a day trip to the vineyard last year, and it was neat. I always missed those group trips for one reason or another. My family usually had something planned, and that's like it would always be the week we were gone, and then on the times that we weren't away, I was away, either probably Army training before I left for good. So I never went. And so we went, and we didn't, because it was only a day trip, and we took the the fast ferry, not the slow ferry with your car, which you have to book like way in advance too.
Yeah.
We didn't really do the beach. I mean, we were by the water, but we didn't really do the beach. We did a tour that took us around the island, and they said they were going to stop at the Jaws Bridge, and they didn't. So we drove over it, but
yeah.
But it's
Yeah,
still, it was nice to go.
Yeah, it's fun. It's, you know, it's a good day trip. I mean, it's if you can go over and like, you know, bring like a moped or a bike or something. I mean, if my kids lived there, I would tell them, here's $300. I don't know. I don't know how much money you need nowadays. I'm saying $300, and I feel I don't know if that's even enough now with inflation the way it's been. But here's money. Take some friends and go to Martha's Vineyard for the day. Have fun. Enjoy yourselves. Make some memories.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't send a group of teenagers over.
Why not? Why not? I mean, they have all the resources. They're going to have their cell phones. What do you mean they couldn't afford for a day?
Oh, geez, it was so expensive. Food, everything. It's an island.
Yeah, but if it's just yourself and everyone else is paying for themselves, you know, for as kids, I say kids, I mean high schoolers, but I'm just saying it's an opportunity. Otherwise, it's Block Island, and that's way too hilly.
Well, Block Island's also a much farther ride too. You know, if you were on the Cape and you decided to take a trip out of Falmouth, where it's like literally like you can see the island, it's right there. It's only like a couple miles across the sound. That's one thing. You know, it's a little bit of a hike when you're going out of New Bedford, which is what we did.
We went out of when we went in 2011, it was out of East Greenwich, or what was it? Near where Rocky Point is.
Sounds right.
That was the fast ferry. We took the fast ferry there. And that was good. That was when my son, Mack Jr., was not even, he had just turned 1. God, that was so long ago. But yeah, I mean, if you go to that island, you'll recognize, and you're a fan of the movie, you'll recognize everywhere you go.
Oh yeah,
like they filmed that island backwards and forwards, and you'll recognize it all. It is unchanged, quaintly unchanged.
There's a little here and there. There's a Stop and Shop and a Dairy Queen now. Seriously, the lady was an islander, and that was like something she was pointing out when we were on the little van tour.
Stop and Shop and a Dairy Queen.
And a Dairy Queen. Like, oh, okay. We can see those on the mainland, man.
Right? Yeah, that's, you know, it's like going to France and having McDonald's.
Yeah. I may have walked into a Burger King in Paris once.
Well, so did I, but I'm just saying it's like that. So let's see. Erase that, please.
You know, that is a seminal movie. It had a really negative impact on shark populations, though.
And I think that lasted until like for the last like 30 for the 30 years thereafter, because I do not remember there being a lot of shark sightings.
It lasted until Shark Week. It's basically the reason Shark Week exists, was people were so terrified of sharks that, you know, and again, why the Mandela effect, where people will, you know, think that the tagline for the original movie Jaws is just when you thought it was safe to go back into the water. No, that was for the sequel, Jaws 2.
Yeah.
Which isn't, well, Jaws 3 and 4 were atrocious. Jaws 2 wasn't bad. Still had Roy Scheider.
That was
But
okay.
that's where the tagline was. Just when you thought it was safe to go back into the water, which makes sense because the first movie drove people out of the water like crazy. It actually was killing tourism for a while, especially up
Martha's
here.
Vineyard literally, they literally asked the Spielberg to not give them credit for where they shot the film.
Yeah,
because they were terrified. I mean, they pulled the mayor of Amity Island, going, "This is gonna ruin everything," which it did.
It's true, but he might have been the actual real villain of the movie.
That's also true. That's also true.
Or at least his tailor was. Holy shit.
So I'm trying to think because we've talked about this a little bit, and I want to talk about what I did. We're kind of going into conservation here, which is okay, because there's a theme to what I did over the weekend. But
were you hugging trees? Did you go to the redwood forest and hug them?
I hugged a fox and I got kissed by a gray wolf, and we'll talk about that. But honest to God, full-grown gray wolf. Whoo, boy, that was nerve-wracking. All right, that being said, yeah, seriously.
Were you looking for the dire wolves?
Yeah, it was something. Okay. I remember growing up in New England that there was very little talk about sharks. Very little. And there was zero talk about being able to see sea lions off the coast of Massachusetts. And now we've got both.
Well,
I don't know if it's just an uber awareness thing.
We have
there's
seals.
Sea lions. Okay. You know what I mean. You know what I mean, right?
I do. They're just different animals.
Okay. So here's my question. How did this change? I mean, is it because
conservation?
Were we just like mowing through the population of sharks with reckless abandon and the population of seals, drawing them all the way up to Canada?
In the 70s and 80s, the conservation, they stopped hunting seals, aside from like certain like Inuit people who still use it culturally and whatnot. But the mass clubbing of seals and all that got a huge bad rap in the 60s and 70s, and they started to outlaw that, and then the population exploded. You're right, you didn't see seals off of Cape Cod in the 80s and early 90s when we were going there in the summer. And yet the only sharks you saw were the little sand sharks and whatnot, the little,
right.
And you'd catch some blue sharks or something deep sea fishing.
And adults would say, I remember my grandfather would say there would be great whites off the coast of Cape Cod. And like, oh, come on. Well, they're there now.
Well,
in full force.
It is a combination. Obviously, conservation is helping both species, right? So we're trying to be more cognizant about what we're putting into the ocean, right? We're trying to clean stuff up. We're, enforcing in the United States, we're trying to enforce, sustainable fisheries. That's one of the big things the Coast Guard does, enforce fishing laws and national boundaries and all of that. If you ever watch, and I joke, I used to watch Wicked Tuna, the reality show about, bluefin tuna fishery off of mostly coming out of Gloucester, Massachusetts. That's Cape Ann, the other Cape, up on the North Shore. But one of the things that they do is that there's poundage limits, there's a number of fish, and there's a season that they can go fishing in. And a tuna has to be an Atlantic bluefin tuna has to be at least, I think, 72 or 73 inches in length before you're allowed to haul it in and take it to the docks. So that's a fish taller than me. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's big. That's big.
That's got to, that you still have to throw back. Okay. But that's because these things can become, you can get 600, 800,000 pounders of bluefins, right? But it's all about sustainable fishing, right? You don't troll, you don't net fish for bluefin. You rod and reel, like heavy duty rod and reel with them for the most part. But again, it's all sustainable fishery. It goes to the same thing. Like there was an episode in the first season watching a great white shark came up and took the tuna right from one of the guys that they were fishing,
Yeah.
But if you're fishing, if you're sustaining the fishing, if you're doing, sustainable fishing, you're doing conservation, you're outlawing illegal hunting of animals, you're going to start to see the population rebound. It's like deer too. We didn't see a ton of deer down here, but they reduced the amount of deer that you could hunt, and they had hunting seasons and yada yada. And the deer population exploded. Now they're all over New England. Turkeys
along with
too.
bears.
Yeah, bears.
Like a lot of bears.
More in northern New England, but they will come down sometimes, particularly when it's really warm, and they're looking for food. They're following the food too, all the deer and turkeys and stuff like that, which is interesting.
I'm looking for the video of the shark, the large, huge shark that was in the pond at Martha's Vineyard.
Oh, there was a basking shark. Yeah,
they had some basking shark.
They had some basking sharks off the coast. It wasn't in the pond. It was but it was in coastal waters around the vineyard. Yeah, it's a basking shark. You'll get those. They're filter feeders, or they're plankton feeders, like whale sharks and other larger whales like humpback whales. So they're completely harmless. They're slow moving. They're not aggressive. You're not supposed to swim up and touch them. Just but they're if you're in the water in this thing. Yeah, same thing with whale sharks. You're supposed to give them a wide berth, but we've been seeing a lot of basking sharks over the last couple of years. But the great white population has exploded so much, partially due to conservation, but also because of the huge seal population, which has come this far. In fact, they're seeing more great whites further north. They've been seen in Maine and off the maritime provinces in Canada, because the seal population and the rising temperatures, they're moving farther north, and it's pretty wild. In fact, a couple summers ago, we went to a bookshop in Falmouth to do a book signing for a scientist by the name of Greg Skomall. He is like one of the biggest great white shark experts in the United States, and it's all East Coast. But when the great white started showing up in mass in Cape Cod, because he's from Massachusetts, he was a Shark Week fixture for a long time. And last I knew, he was doing more with National Geographic than with Shark Week. He was doing their Shark Fest stuff, and we watched some of those because dude was awesome. He was so nice. He was very personable. We talked to him. Geez, there was a line too, and he wanted to talk to everybody.
Yeah,
but it was cool. I've been watching this guy for 8 years or something like that. I'm like, yeah, I've seen the shark, and we also saw the one of the shark cams, which is basically an underwater drone that they sent out in an early season, about 10 years ago. It got chomped on by a great white, and it was in this museum at Woods Hole. And earlier that summer, we had gone to Woods Hole, and we'd seen this drone that was chewed up, and we're like, we saw the camera that you had got all chewed up over at Woods Hole. They're like, oh yeah, that was wild, and it was just very cool. So we watch. We have people now. We've watched Shark Week so long, we know the names of the people. We're like, oh, it's not a Shark Week until I've seen, until we've watched Air Jaws off of, Cape Town and seen Allison Towner, one of the leading shark experts, who goes down there. And then I'm like, oh, oh, it's not been a Shark Week until I've seen Paul DeGelder go diving with sharks. Paul DeGelder, for the people who don't know, is a former Australian, basically their version of the SEALs. He was a Australian special ops who about 18 years ago lost his right arm and leg to a bull shark attack doing training in Sydney Harbor. And he's become this super shark conservationist, and he's always on Shark Week now. And he's got like this when he dives, he's got a prosthetic hand that looks like a Lego man's claw hand.
Mm-hmm.
And a prosthetic leg that has a ball joint, for the ankle for flippers, so he can swim with that. But dude is like this super ripped, super, cool, Australian former special ops dude who's like, he dives with bull sharks. He is very much turned, he could be, he could have been one of those people who's like, let's go kill all the sharks. He wants to understand them, and it was wild. Like, he was a subject of Shark Week years and years and years ago, and now he's a member of Shark Week. It's pretty wild. So it's one of the things we like. But going back to it all, it has to do with conservation.
Yeah.
You pull this stuff up, and you see, it's 3 hours a day, for like 6 days now, maybe 7. And it used to be like two hours a day for 5 days, but then they added Saturday and the Sunday, and now they do a lot, man. And you get the celebrities and the cheesy ones, but you also get really fascinating ones. And it's not just great whites, it's all these others. Alien sharks is one we're really, it's a recurring one, and it's all the weird, neat sharks that have all these cool adaptations, and they're found in weird spots, or the ones that can kind of crawl out of, like the epaulet shark, which lives in reefs and will crawl over the reefs when the tide drops, and from tide pool to tide pool, or like goblin sharks, which can like shoot out a jaw, and they live in the depths. It's crazy, man. But again, this is all this conservation, and I think a lot of this shark conservation comes from to dispel the fear that Jaws put in us.
Well, yes, and I mean, if this is what the populations really were, I mean, you and I grew up in a completely different environment than what was naturally, meant to be. It's just wild to see all of that change so dramatically. And I say dramatically, it's only dramatic to me because I'm not there. Anytime I see a reference for it now, I realize how much has changed over the course of like 25, 30 years or so. So
man,
it's just an interesting perspective.
You go to these things, right? And it is so fascinating to see the change. Like, you go on the Cape and like, oh, I saw 2 sharks as a kid on the Cape. One was a dead shark that had washed up on shore, and it was probably, I don't know, 2-3 feet long. It was a small, we called them sand sharks. I'm not entirely sure what the name of the species is, but they're not true sand sharks, but they were small, like a dogfish, some type that would, live in the waters, right? Maybe it was a small porbeagle or something. One of the few sharks that stay in the waters year round. They're a relative of the great white, and I think they feed on like, cod and stuff like that. They can get up to be like 8-10 feet or something. Maybe it was but then we were at the beach one day, and there was this big splashing, and some dude was fucking with this small shark that had ventured into the waters.
Jesus.
Like, people are dumb.
Yeah, a little bit.
But yeah, I mean, I swam off the waters of the Cape for years and years and years, and now I'm a little leery about it. Don't get me wrong, I love the beach. We will go to the beach
every year. And I mean, we've seen there's sea lions out here, by the way, which is why I default to that term. But we see sea lions all the time swimming off the beach. And I know that what else is out there. And my daughter wants to go out farther and farther every year. And I'm like, it's like
people have gotten bit off the Cape now.
Yeah.
There's, I think, been one fatality in the last 15 years, but there have been a couple of attacks.
Well, they don't want to eat us. They get confused by us. Like,
well, not only that, but the water off there is it's murky too.
Yeah.
When you see the drone footage or the plane footage, and you're like, oh no, you're like,
yeah,
there's like a couple of great whites right off where like 100, maybe 200 feet from where there's a lot of people in the water. And for me, I'll go into the water, but at this point, I'm really going up maybe waist deep, not really going out swimming, because I've seen enough Shark Week. And if I see any sign of seal activity, nope, we'll stay on the beach. Maybe maybe go up, to our ankles in the water. If we see seals. Now the Cape is kind of doubled down. Like they have a lot of planes flying overhead, shark spotting.
Yeah.
And shark towers and whatnot. And they are trying to be smart about it. Boats and stuff being out there.
I mean, if you're in waist deep water and you're standing in the water, sharks don't like that. They're weirded out by it. Like they don't have any interest in what you might taste like if they see that. So it's very rare to have any kind of problems in shallower water like that. That's what we're taught out here. It's when you go out and you're on your board and your silhouette from below has a vaguely sea lion shape to it. And I say sea lion because that's what they are.
Yeah.
And that's when sharks are like, ooh, I think I see something that looks like what I want to eat. And then broken board and maybe missing arm. So, but it's never like a crocodile attack or
you're
something.
In their home. Okay.
Yeah.
You are in their house.
Yeah, but I want to go body surfing without worrying about them.
We all want to be able to swim and feel like we're at the top of the food chain, but we ain't. Okay.
Mm-mm.
And if we were truly a superior intelligent species, we would stop doing dumb shit, but we don't.
Well,
now Shark Week, one of the things that I do like in Shark Week is where they test out, shark cages. They've tried shark fences, which are basically like they're dropping like PVC pipes, like it's almost like a fence, and it creates some noise that can. They're trying to find non-lethal ways to keep sharks away from humans.
Yes.
And like when I'm watching Shark Week, ain't nobody flying around, in a shark plane, a spotter plane, going, "No, there's a great white. Get the harpoon gun." I mean, they will, tag them. So we do harass the sharks, I guess, kind of. But part of it
Well,
also
we
helps us
abduct
track
them,
where they are.
examine them, and then set them free. Maybe with the mind wipe. Maybe.
These are not the sharks you're looking for.
They're like, and they'll be like, guys, you won't believe what bloody happened to me. I don't know why he has an Australian accent, but he does. That's just
A lot of great whites do migrate quite a long ways. They usually don't end up off of Cape Cod from Australia, but they do.
Usually don't.
They may be somewhere off the coast of Florida, in the colder months.
Yeah,
coming up the Gulf Stream. But I mean, that's the same thing. Whale watching. I mean, we did whale watching as kids. But you go out now and there's huge populations of whales and different types of whales.
I remember it was catch as catch can back then.
Well, now they almost all guarantee it, because they've got the sonar and they can go find the pods. It's a little bit easier going whale watching.
True. That also sounds invasive to the whales by using sonar like that.
Well, they also have spotter planes and stuff like that. They know where they feed, where the big spots are off the banks, and at times, like you can see, like there's been times we've been in very close sight of land seeing these. It's cool. Yeah. We're gonna do when we go out to the West Coast. We're gonna do a whale watch out there, and the discussion in the house was, why would we do a whale watch? We can do one at home. Yeah, but there's whales over there that we won't see over here, like gray whales, orcas. You can get these. Now, orcas have been seen periodically, but they're not here much. You're more prone to see them out west. I mean, they're in all oceans, the Atlantic, the North Atlantic, where we are. They are here, but not always when people are out whale watching either.
Yeah, and they're pissed out here. They're pissed in Washington Sound.
Are they going after boats the same way they were out in the Mediterranean now?
A couple, not nearly as bad, but there were a couple incidents of boats being damaged, like in the Mediterranean. But yeah, just if you've ever been in a like a fishing boat or a speedboat or something, you don't want to be near a killer whale. You don't. Those things are scary as hell, imposing as hell. I say this because I follow a guy on YouTube who he's a professional fish
whale harasser.
No, he's a fish charter guy.
Whale biologist.
Professional hunter. He's a professional hunter as well. He used to guide hunting and things like that. But he shows videos of him out on the water, and you see all this sea wildlife and stuff. And he shows videos of when he goes hiking up into the mountains and stuff. It's really good. Howtohunt.com is the channel. He also had a few run-ins with Sasquatch, so he talks about that too.
Yay, so he says.
So, but he helps his community out a lot. Like, he uses the money that he gets from the channel to be able to feed families that wouldn't be able to afford food, and he's a good-hearted man. I do appreciate what he does with that channel. So
that's good.
Can I talk about a little bit what we did this weekend?
So the question I have is,
yeah,
does he try to arrange fights between Sasquatch and killer whales?
No, the killer whale would win. He doesn't want to, Sasquatch, they're, interdimensional beings. They have feelings, and
so do killer whales, dude.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too. All right, one more thing about the killer whales. So I'm going to give a controversial opinion here. I have mixed feelings about the documentary Blackfish.
Oh
Which
man,
focused
that was ugly.
It's a tough watch. It's a tough watch. I have mixed feelings about it because I think that the documentary had its heart in the right place, but I think it drew the wrong conclusions. So it talks about that SeaWorld trainer who was murdered by Tecumseh. Was it Tecumseh or Tillamook?
Tillicum.
So close.
Tecumseh
Tillicum.
was the Native American
Yeah, I know.
leader who tried to throw back the white horde prior to the War of 1812.
Well, it could work. So Tillicum killed this trainer in front of all these families in the show, and they started drilling down into why Tillicum might do this, and they talk about how whale emotional development can be stunted when in captivity, and then they went into the history of how SeaWorld.
Any creatures get stunted in captivity. Just look at what happens to humans.
Yeah, I mean, I think it has to do with awareness in a certain extent.
Sure.
Like, a level of sentience. I mean, any big-brained mammal is going to have a problem. Like, look at all the elephants that sway in distress when they're in a zoo or something. And you want to go to the bigger zoos that have, which I found out that the San Diego Zoo considers the Fresno Chaffee Zoo, where I live, to be one of the better zoos in the country. They were like, oh yeah, that's a really good zoo. And I agree. It's a fantastic zoo. Very well run. That makes sense. I felt that the issue was more about mismanagement, corporate wise, than it was about the actual care of said whales, because the caretakers for the whales loved those whales. They bonded with those whales. They wanted nothing but the best for those whales. And yes, they were instructed to teach them how to do tricks and things like that. And they got Tillicum on a very bad day, and they probably should have read the warning signs, which I'm sure there were some I think they talked about leading up to that day. I completely disagree with how corporate would want to transfer like a baby calf to another park across the country, separating it from its mother. I think that they should have kept them together in those family pods as long as possible, if not longer. Or forever. You'd have to worry about inbreeding and things like that, and that's a whole other husbandry issue that they would have to tackle. But I do think that the model of SeaWorld is plausible. It's just corporate greed got in the way of the true animal husbandry that was required of it.
Well, Tillicum was involved with these 3 of the 4 known fatalities of humans by orcas in captivity. So there is some. It is, but it's wild. I did watch it. Surprisingly enough, deployed, but I watched it. And you're like, I really like going to SeaWorld.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. SeaWorld does a valuable service. It teaches the public, the value of marine life and what these creatures do, how they service the biome and the environment, 2 different things, and how important they are to our existence. That's why zoos are so important. But it all is in the execution. And if you have someone who's in charge of the whole thing, whose priorities are completely off and they're more
Tiger King.
Yeah. It's funny. My attitude about Tiger King has changed over the years. I had no sympathy for the tigers. I'm like, they're fucking animals, whatever. But now that I over the years, I've changed my mind completely about it. And I'm like, God, he was so irresponsible. I mean, I knew he was irresponsible, but he was.
They all were, not just him.
Every single one. Oh,
even the big cat rescue person. Skeletons in those closets.
They all have something going on, don't they? Some kind of.
There was a lot of very terrible people who took advantage of a lot of really broken people.
Yes, absolutely. But again, I mean, my thought is, I think there's a value to SeaWorld, and if you have the right environments for those creatures, and I think that they it could be done happily for the animals, for their lives. There's also another documentary that I think you would like called Chimp Crazy. It's on HBO. I don't know if you have HBO, but they talk about all the people that collect exotic chimpanzees and monkeys throughout the country. And there's
we literally just had a conversation about the woman who had her face ripped off in Connecticut. They
cover that in this. Yeah, they cover that in this.
I lived through that. I don't really want to go through that again. That was pretty disturbing.
Oh, it's super disturbing, but it's weird because you talk about all those weird damaged people involved in the tiger trade. These are weird damaged people involved in the chimpanzee trade. Like, it's weird.
And even worse than that is chimps are like fairly intelligent creatures too. Not saying a tiger is a stupid animal, but
they're more basic.
Chimps are very, there's a lot of similarities to chimpanzees and humans, and
you can communicate with a chimp.
There's questionable ownership and whatnot.
Yes, and it's called wilding up. Once they become adults, they wild up. They can't be tamed. Like, they can love you. You can raise them from a baby, bottle feed them every day. But once they wild up, forget it, man. Forget it.
Yeah.
It's not fair for that chimp to be in a 15 by 15, cell all day, especially when they could rip your face off, quite literally.
Or in your house.
Yes.
What was the name of the documentary?
Chimp Crazy.
I would have called it Big Chimpin', but that's me.
Oh my God.
But isn't it that really what it is?
Yeah. It's it really is.
Maybe it was too glib.
A little too glib. It works. It's sufficient. It's fine.
I like it. If you make a sequel, folks, Big Chimpin', I need a cut. That's all.
Oh my God. Okay. So I'm going to show you this. So I went to San Diego area. I didn't Escondido area, actually, but for two reasons. One, we went on a little safari.
Discovered by the Germans. They called it San Diego.
Named after.
No.
Come on.
No.
Come on.
Named after Will Ferrell's mustache.
No. You wimped out. It's okay.
Well, we all have our limits, man.
So we went on a safari and everything, but the next day, this was for my son's birthday present, I found this place nearby that allows you to have interactions with different canines, and you can play with domesticated foxes. And my son's favorite animal is the fox. So before we got to play with the foxes, this big guy right here is Lucan. And he was massive. This picture, Lucan, yeah. This, I know, it's a takeoff of the lycanthrope and whatnot. But I got you. It's cute, though. Whatever. He was a pretty animal. And if you...
Beautiful.
If you see these eyes, look at these eyes right here. Like, geez, Louise. Like, he examined you. Now, they warned me. They're like, okay, so my wife, daughter, and mother-in-law were on one bench. Me, my father-in-law, and my son were on another bench. And they turned to us and they said, okay, understand he's gonna pay attention to mostly the guys. So he'll walk by you ladies, but he likes men. Okay. And then he turned to me and he goes, and he loves men with facial hair. So he's probably going to take a nip at your face for a little bit. I'm like, what? I don't want that.
It's okay.
What?
My nephew ate my beard, so
Oh my
he's
God.
at that age where he goes, "I ate your nose." Now
Yeah.
he's eating my beard.
Yeah. So, but this guy, Sweetie, he there's another picture I don't have up here of him being pet on his back. He rolled onto his back. But
I
then
don't
we've
know.
got
That's kind
this
of a
one,
forlorn look on his face.
a forlorn look. Oh, he was fine. He had a lot of cheese. It's all right. The trainer or the caretaker said that he wrestles with that wolf every night for a half hour. He's like, yeah,
And that's when he bit him, Your Honor.
Well, he does say that the wolf like has these paws that they can expand, and it feels like when he puts the paw on his shoulder, it feels like a person is holding him down, which is interesting. So, I'm just looking for the other picture here. So, and then this guy, this is
So you guys were down in San Diego? Is that an Arctic fox?
No, it's a red fox. So the funny part about these foxes is, so this is a red fox. Obviously,
that ain't no red fox.
I know. Double play. So these foxes, there is a domestication program initiated in 1959 in Russia. They wanted to see if they could recreate the domestication process of canines, but with foxes.
I've heard of this.
Yeah, it came to light recently, mainstream recently and stuff, but it's been around since 1959. So this organization outside of San Diego got 3 different foxes domesticated. Like, these are domesticated, but they're still a little wild, which is crazy. But they're friendly enough. This fox right here just went in front of my son. This is Mack Jr. right here. And she just sat down and just, was in love with him. She just let him pet her for a good 15 minutes, which was pretty wild. Like, the trainers were very impressed with that. I need to say their name too. I'll pull it up in a second. But yeah, so this is a domesticated fox. They also had a really red fox and a red fox that was all black, which was kind of cool too. I don't have that picture, but yeah, so that's cool. And then let's see, I'll remove this one, and then we'll add. Stop sharing. One more.
Hey, I don't know if I really like the idea of us attempting to domesticate another animal.
Well, it's something we've been doing for tens of thousands of years. We're just trying to see if we can do it again. Now this one, that's my dog. I missed him. Tucker. Anyway, I show this because this is a picture I was looking at later on that day, because seeing all these canines and stuff made me miss my dog. Well, we went out to dinner later on that night, and it was this big brewery. It was massive. Like, they had a wedding out there. It was an amazing brewery. It was really cool. Stone Brew in Escondido. If you want to look it up, you might never go, but whatever. Don't let me stop you. Fantastic place. But next to us was a man and a woman, and they had their dog there, which was this buddy right here. And
is that an Irish setter?
Irish setter, an older Irish setter. There was a lot of gray around the nozzle right here. Beautiful dog, very well behaved. And I was sitting there and I couldn't help but I walked over and said, "Excuse me, if you don't mind, is your dog friendly?" "Oh yeah, pet him. Yeah, go ahead." And so I'm petting, I'm talking to the dog, and I'm like, "Oh, you're a good dog." And I went, "What's his name?" And the owner goes, "Riker." And I'm like, and I turned back to the dog. I'm like, "You're the bestest commander in the entire Starfleet." "Yes, you are." And both the man and the woman were like, "You got it." Everyone thinks we named him after Riker's Island for some reason, but that's what we named him after, Commander Riker. So
Does he do the long leg over his dog bed?
You broke out there. I'm sorry. Does he what?
I said, does he swing both legs over his dog bed when he lies down?
That'd be pretty sweet if he did. This is not Riker, by the way. This is just an Irish setter to give you guys an idea. However, very well behaved dog, very cute. And then, so we have a good laugh about that. And I sit back down, and about 2 minutes later, I hear his owner go, Riker, come here. And I turn, and Riker's sitting next to me, like looking for more pets. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a good dog. So
make it so, Riker.
That was the Star Trek. That was the Star Trek story I wanted to share with you. I thought it was cute. You know, it's funny. I mean,
I call that a win.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's
did I have anything sci-fi related?
No, just sharks. Lilo and Stitch had aliens that were based off of sea life.
Wicked sharks.
Yeah, pretty much. All their spaceships were designed as if they were to fly underwater.
Jeez, I did have something, but my brain ate it. So there we go.
That's all right.
I've been starting a Babylon 5 rewatch.
Oh, you have? I gotta get on that. I'm in the middle of season 4 still. I know it's fascist Earth. That's the problem. Fascist Earth, man.
I know. I was like, oh God. Night Watch was starting to give me the heebie-jeebies, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm looking here. See, so the last episode I watched was season 4, episode 15. No surrender, no retreat. It looks like.
Okay.
And then I guess, yeah. So, yeah, I need to I need to do that one. And then
it's a good show. It is a good fucking show.
I mean, it is a good show. It just Fascist Earth is tough watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shepard gets interrogated, and
there is no Shepard.
Yeah, you're right. There's Sheridan.
Yes. Sheridan. There was Sinclair, but there is no Shepard.
Who the hell is Shepard?
Oh, I think it's from one of those like video games or something, or like
Mass
Effect or something.
You know, I played that game for all of 3 hours, thinking that it was going to be great, and
it's been ruining your Babylon 5 cred ever since.
Ever since. I'm sorry. What can I say? It just is what it is.
So I went to Boston Fan Expo last year, right? And we're in line waiting to see Rosario Dawson. And, I'm looking around at the people around me. I was chatting a little with some people. And then this dude turns around and he's got this little symbol on him. I'm like, are you a psychop? He's like,
oh my God,
yes. You guessed it. I'm like, dude, I rewatch B5 like every couple of years. He's like, you're like one of 4 people who got it, and that's fine. When I went to Rhode Island Comic-Con as Malcolm Reynolds, like almost nobody got it either.
Well, it's kind of a nondescript costume.
Well, I could have said I was the gangster of love, but I decided to go with the space cowboy.
Well, yeah. Well, someone has to go with you as the gangster of love, then, whatever that looks like.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. So, all right. Well,
Al Capone during the Valentine's Day Massacre.
Ah. Hey, that could actually work. Damn. Good work. All right, then. So, anything else you want to add, DT, before I take us out?
Enjoy your 4th, everyone. We'll be back afterwards. And crush it like Quint.
Crush it like Quint, indeed. All right, then. So that's the ultimate end. Until the next time, you guys keep dreaming. We'll keep working. I am P.S. McKay. We are those sci-fi guys. It's out there. Those Sci-Fi Guys is an independent broadcast by Alpha Site Productions, produced by DT Cavman and PS McKay. Ocean by music by Aiden under Creative Commons license. For more information on upcoming episodes, follow PS McKay on X at PS McKay or go to thosesci-fi-guys.com for past episode information. You can now find us on Spotify, so head on over there for our latest episodes. But don't worry, you can still find us on Apple. We're also live on Rumble. You can find us on YouTube with live video podcasts and Facebook, so be sure to leave a like and a comment and let us know how we're doing.